everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Comment Section. That's right, guys. Today we have a special episode that we've been teasing this whole year. That's right. I believe we brought it up at the upcoming TV special, or upcoming 2025 special that we had. We've been teasing it for a while. Part 1 came out in January, and then Part 2 came out in July. That's right. 2 of TV's titans of comedy came together, and that is the Abbott Elementary and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia crossover event. That's right. Now, this wasn't on purpose, but to get into the spirit, I did wear a shirt of their boss, the boss of both shows.
Yes, of course.
So that's what we're going to talk about, the crossover of the century.
Yes.
Well, maybe not the century, but TV comedy crossover.
Yeah, this is my Avengers, this is my crossover thing because of my affinity for slightly ever so slightly edgy sitcoms. For people like me, who that's their go-to. This is the Avengers.
Yes, I can't remember the last time outside of like the Arrowverse where we had kind of a big TV crossover like this. I think the last big one I remember was Simpsons and Futurama.
Yeah.
But this was a whole big 2-part thing where both shows, we got one episode on Abbott, one episode on It's Always Sunny, and boy, was it something.
It was something. And we're going to get into that in this episode, but we do like to start with some unnecessarily in-depth background about our thoughts about the media that we're about to talk about, our history with it.
A lot of times we talk about things that go back generations, and although I guess you could say with one, it's now 20 years old. You can say that now with one of the shows. Yeah,
it's interesting because one of them is, and this is probably important to mention, that it's part of the sort of copacetic nature of it is like they both are shows that take place in Philadelphia. And Abbott Elementary is a newer live-action sitcom that takes place in Philadelphia, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is one that started in, I think, 2006, so it's nearly 20 years old.
I'll fact-check that real quick. I thought it might have been 2005.
It could be. It's either 5 or 6.
By the way, I want to point out how cool I think it is. Oh, it is 2005.
2005. Okay.
So
same year as
August
The Office.
4th. So a little bit ago, it celebrated its 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
By the way, I got to shout out. How cool is it that the show was created by 2 of its stars?
Yeah, I love that. I think that's it's very hard to be a good writer and a good comedy performer is very rare, but like that's part of one of the things, and maybe this is getting a little into which why not just crack open our history with the show thing.
Yes.
It's Always Sunny, as I've mentioned before on this podcast. It's like a show that I always assumed would be a show I'd really like. I very much enjoyed some clips from it and stuff, and it just sort of passed me by, and I never, the time to start watching it properly never really came up. But it was always the show that, and I felt this with The Simpsons as well, a show that I more recently got into, which is, it's shows where all of my favorite comedians cite that as one of their inspirations for comedy. And It's Always Sunny was very much that. And it was always like, I bet I would love this show and it would be my exact sense of humor, and I'm looking for the right time to start it. I finally did a couple years ago, make it through the whole series finally. And
how long did that take you to do?
Maybe 2 months. I was watching it a lot. So it was Yeah, my hunch was definitely correct. It is skyrocketed to being one of my favorite shows of all time. It is a degenerately hilarious show. Um, and yeah, like I said, the writers being also the comedians performing in it does give it this very cool sense of like you're laughing along with your buds kind of thing. Like you're seeing they found this really funny and they're performing what they found really funny.
Yeah, because I believe Charlie and Dennis are also writers on the show. I see their name pop up in the credits.
The three of them were kind of the brains behind. Like, the original idea was all Rob Mack, but and I think he's the only one who really like lived in Philadelphia. But yeah, the three of them are the brains behind the whole thing, do a lot of the writing. And of course, Danny DeVito was not added until season 2, episode 1. Yeah, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is now a show, and in that time when I kind of watched through the whole thing in 2 months, I would then rewatch it a lot. I would start picking out my favorite episodes and specifically rewatching those. It reminded me a lot of my time when I first started watching The Office and was kind of just like, this is what I watch now for months. I just I watched it all through. I rewatched it. And so yeah, it remains a show I love. I hope they continue doing it as long as they can, even though they are on season 17. I think they continue to put out great episodes.
True? Because I remember it was renewed for 4 additional ones. Is this the first one of those 4 or the second?
I think it's either the first or the second. It's early on in the renewal from what I remember, but I don't exactly remember. But yeah, I think they continue to, even in these later seasons, there's always great episodes in every season. This crossover has now, taken place in It's Always Sunny's season 17 and Abbott Elementary season 4, which I can, would be interesting to do. I just gave my background in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which was the first of the shows that I watched, but you watched Abbott Elementary before you really got into it. So why don't you go into your background on Abbott Elementary now?
All right, so Abbott Elementary, I had seen it advertised, but it wasn't really until late 2023 that I started watching it. And ironically, it's because of stuff like this podcast. It was because of the 2023 writers and actors strike when I was realizing, hey, there's not a lot of content. If I want to keep doing this podcast, I got to find more stuff that we can cover. So, yeah, I was just like, okay, you know what? I've heard really great things about this show. Won Emmy Award, so I'll sit down, watch it. And, I was a bit like, well, I mean, it's kind of trying to be The Office. I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. The mockumentary thing sometimes feels overplayed until you do it right.
Yeah, all that matters is that you write it well. As soon as I feel that way about Parks and Rec and What We Do in the Shadows. Especially by the time What We Do in the Shadows came out, so many mockumentary, the mockumentary is so tired at that point.
Like, the Muppets did a mockumentary, and it was so desperate.
Yeah. But when it works, it just works. And to clarify, What We Do in the Shadows at the time, that it was like, okay, the writing's really great. It doesn't matter what the format is. I think the same for Abbott Elementary.
Yes. So I sat down and watched it, and instantly, with that pilot, I was hooked. Mm-hmm. Great writing, great characters. I was recently thinking about this, like when my sister said she wanted to start watching Curb Your Enthusiasm with me, I said, okay, but we're not starting at season 1. We're jumping forward a little bit so you can get a better idea of what it's like. But with Abbott Elementary, that first season is still really strong. Like, you look at a lot of the great sitcoms, like Seinfeld, Curb, The Office, and they're a little rough, and they don't reach the heights that they would later get. But with Abbott Elementary, it just was firing right away.
I agree, and this is me sneaking in my. I started watching Abbott, I think, just earlier this year, and I totally agree that I had just gone through I was trying to find a new show. I won't call out any of the ones that didn't work for me because they're fine. And they're good for a lot of people, but a lot of them were just like. And there was a lot of this feeling of like, God, do I keep watching it and hope that it clicks and gets better later? But then with Abbott Elementary, it really was just episode 1. I was like, okay, so I can just like something. I don't have to like try so hard to like something. Yeah. This is just entertaining and funny and good, and the characters are lovable from episode 1. And yeah, it's very rare. There are very few sitcoms I can name where the pilot is just immediately so good. I think Community is one of the only other ones I can think of. But yeah, this is one where the pilot immediately hooks you, and it's immediately good.
Yeah, I might say, this might be, in my opinion, the best sitcom pilot I've ever seen.
Yeah, very well.
It knows exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then, well, I guess you gave your little introduction to Abbott, so I'll talk about It's Always Sunny, my introduction. So, I remember years ago, someone had showed me an episode, and I thought it was good. Then probably 10 years later, when I was in college, a teacher showed an episode. But what made me decide, all right, I'm going to sit down and watch It's Always Sunny, was the announcement of the crossover. And knowing that this show is now canon with Abbott Elementary. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to pop on a new episode of Abbott. Might as well take a half hour and turn into an hour. Yeah. My hour in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So that's what really did it. And probably should say right now, I am one episode away from finishing season 5. So I am, unlike you who has seen every episode, I guess, of this whole universe, I still have a good chunk of It's Always Sunny to still get through.
Yeah. Yeah, then there's a lot to get through. I mean, the bonus is that they are short seasons. They've always had short seasons, but nonetheless, it's approaching 200 episodes probably.
Oh, yes.
Still a lot to get through.
All right. So now that we've given our introduction to the shows, do we want to share what our initial reaction to the crossover announcement was?
Yeah. Well, actually, another thing I could mention is that what really pushed me, I had wanted to watch Abbott Elementary, but the crossover, kind of the inverse of you, it pushed me to watch Abbott Elementary, that there was a crossover happening, because I knew I 100% wanted to see that Abbott Elementary episode of the crossover, and it was going to be in season 4, and so I better watch seasons 1 through 3 before that comes out. So the announcement got me excited to watch Abbott Elementary. I was very curious if the humor would mesh at all, because I think It's Always Sunny is just uniquely, I don't know, I think the humor of It's Always Sunny stands out amongst a lot of sitcoms. I mean, one aspect is that as like, I guess, is this an FX show thing? They don't really, there's no censoring or whatever. They can kind of just do whatever.
I think, yeah, it was FX, and now it's moved to FXX.
Oh, yes.
So I think going to FXX gives them more freedom. I think it might be more like, FX is more like TNT, TBS. I believe FXX is more like HBO or Showtime.
Right. Yeah, well, yeah, regardless, it's Far less
They
censored.
definitely get away more than they would on regular broadcast TV.
You get away with a lot. It really helps that it's a show about a bunch of degenerates who do crimes. So,
Yes.
it was sort of like, how's this going to mesh? It is very interesting that Abbott Elementary takes place in Philadelphia, and that made it interesting as well. By the way, sidetrack, I am, for the first time in my life, going to Philadelphia for a week.
Really?
In early September, about a month from... exactly 1 month from now, I will be in Philadelphia.
Is it because of these shows? And if you say no, I'll be slightly disappointed in you.
Partially.
Okay.
So, partially, yes. Because I've always wanted to go to Philadelphia, in part because of media, like It's Always Sunny, but also because, like, my favorite band, The Wonder Years, is from Philadelphia, and they reference Philadelphia all the time. So it is mainly, like, hearing about it in media, kind of enamored with it kind of thing. But,
when
yes.
you go to the hotel room, by the way, do you have a Roku stick?
No.
By the way, for
I think I have
travel, I greatly recommend a Roku stick.
Yeah.
Because you plug it in, and it has a special feature to where you can bypass the whole signing in.
Oh, okay.
So you can stream shows on there.
That's cool.
I got it like 6 years ago, and my God, does it come in handy.
Interesting.
That was one of the best $20 investments I've ever had.
Yeah.
But when you're there, or even if you watch on your phone or an iPad, you can be like, throw up and It's Always Sunny or Abbott and be like, I'm here right now.
Yeah. I'll
when
have
I went
to
to
find...
Chicago a month ago, I watched so much Urkel and was like, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to find a particularly Philly-centric episode, like one of the Eagles game episodes or something of It's Always Sunny. But, yeah. So we're getting reaction to the crossover. It was exciting. Got me to watch Abbott Elementary, which I now think is one of, it's up there with my favorite live-action sitcoms. So I'm thankful that they did this crossover for that. I mean, that's one of the points of these things, right? Is to get more eyes on it. And it worked. It worked very well for me. So I was very excited, and this has been an episode that I really wanted to do because of that.
Yes. So my initial reaction to the crossover announcement was I hadn't seen a bunch of Always Sunny, but I thought that this idea sounded so cool. It reminded me, it took me right back to the days of looking forward to the CW Arrowverse crossovers, or remember back in the day, I mean, it happened before we were born, but when Jetsons and the Flintstones crossed over.
Yeah.
So just the idea of that sounded so cool. By the way, real quick, maybe in a second, I'll look up what the theory was, because I remember before it was announced it was Always Sunny, they did announce that Abbott was in a crossover with another sitcom. And recently I was like doing research for this episode, and they listed a couple of sitcoms that they thought the crossover could be with.
Oh, interesting.
So I'll probably look that up. There were like 4 listed. I remember one was It's Always Sunny.
Yeah. I mean, to me that seems like it's set in the same city.
Yeah.
It seems the most obvious, unless there's another Philadelphia-based show that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah. It may be a little bit too late to do a Boy Meets World crossover. Characters may have aged out a little bit.
Yeah.
Although Corey Matthews, as we've learned from Girl Meets World, terrible show, but still, he is a teacher now in Philadelphia, so...
Oh, yeah.
Could always do something like that. But, so after I watched some of It's Always Sunny, that made me become even more excited for the crossover, because I was just like, I think in my opinion, these are the 2 best live-action sitcoms on TV right now. So that got me more excited. And I loved how like both shows have such a great cast of characters. Whether you're talking about like Charlie and Mac and Dennis and Dee and Frank on It's Always Sunny, or Janine, Gregory, Jacob, Barbara, and Mr. Johnson on Abbott. It was going to be really fun to see those characters interact with each other. And I was very curious about how they would make it work, because they are both sitcoms. They're both set in Philadelphia, but they are two very different type of shows.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would say like It's Always Sunny is more of a Seinfeld or Curb Your Enthusiasm type show, which is we do not have heartfelt moments.
Yeah.
We just get into trouble and try to get out of it. Versus Abbott is more like The Office, where it has more of a heart. It wears its heart on its sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, definitely.
I was very curious about seeing how they would make it work. So there's that. Yeah. But I was super excited about it. So, I mean, do we want to give our quick overall thoughts about it, or do you just want to jump in to it?
Yeah, like we can give our overall thoughts. In terms of like a
did you like it
broad,
or did it suck?
Like it or not? Yes. So I guess first of all, I did want to. This is some pretty boring, nitty gritty detail stuff, but these are specifically Abbott Elementary season 4, episode 9, which is part 1, and that is called Volunteers.
Yes.
And then we've got It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, season 17, episode 1. Which aired, 6 months later in July,
yeah.
6-7 months. And that's The Gang F's Up Abbott Elementary.
I believe it was July 10th, because I think it came out the day before Superman.
Yeah. So, yes. Those are the 2 episodes in question. They're very much a part 1 and part 2. So my thoughts on it are, they are great and very funny. I think that they... I mean, now that I've seen the second one, it is apparent that, it's really 2 perspectives on the same events. Which is actually one of my favorite. I have a, running letterbox list of movies that do, showing the same events, but from a different perspective mode of storytelling. It's a weird niche storytelling thing that I like, and so I was happy when I saw in the Always Sunny episode that it was like, oh, we're going to see what they were doing behind the scenes, behind the cameras.
You know, there's this, I don't know if you saw it, there's this Simpsons episode like that. I believe it's season 12 or 13, around then, where each act is, one act is Bart's point of view, one's Homer's, one's Lisa's, and they all start the same way, and you see what happened throughout their day.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have to add that to my list. They were both very funny. I think that I much prefer the It's Always Sunny episode 1 because of the context it gives to the first episode. It's also very interesting you mentioned the different tones of the show. The Abbott Elementary one shows you this sort of sunny, pun, I guess not intended. It's this sunny view of the events that happened. It sort of ends with, oh, they actually did kind of help them. Interesting. And then, of course, that's on camera. Playing into the mockumentary part. I liked that they, the gang from It's Always Sunny kind of had to deal with there's cameras here, kind of, which they're not used to. They do things in the shadows, but then we see the behind the scenes of what went on, and that it in fact always was It's Always Sunny hijinks, schemes the entire time, and they weren't really interested in helping at all. And so that's why I think the second episode, the second part of this, provides important context that makes the first one funnier and improves it. and just the context given from the first one makes the second one even funnier because, you know, it's like a setup punchline where, you know, we're seeing, you know, the slightly cleaned up but also version, if you can even call it that, and then we're seeing like the truth behind the schemes. Yeah, that's really great. So yeah, I would overall give, you know, neither of these are like, I think it's a great Abbott Elementary episode. It's not like one of my favorites, and I think it's a really great It's Always Sunny episode, but it's not one of my favorites. But they're both very good.
Oh yes. So for me, I really, really enjoyed this crossover. I thought they did a great job with combining the characters and who they paired from the two shows. Which Abbott characters and which Sunny characters they paired together. I thought they found a way to make them work very well together. For a comedy show that has two different tones, I thought they did a good job of meshing them together without changing who the characters are. And one thing I think it did do a very good job of was, yes, it was a crossover episode, but the Abbott episode still felt like an Abbott episode. The It's Always Sunny episode still felt like an It's Always Sunny episode, which I think was important for those people who didn't watch the other shows. Like, you had to give it so that if you only watched one show, you still got your regular experience, but you still got to see this other show that hopefully you should check out because they're both great.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, obviously it's a good crossover then, and it's highly recommend both shows. Do you want to like just get more in depth episode? Like we could start just going through part one of this if you want.
Sure. Yeah, I did have mine divided between part 1 and part 2.
Yes. So yeah, part 1 of the Abbott Elementary Always Sunny crossover starts with Ava introducing the idea that they're going to have some volunteers come in.
Yeah.
And it was sort of, uh-oh, I know what that means. It turns out the day the volunteers get there, it is, of course, Charlie, Mac, Dennis, Dee, and Frank in the doors of Abbott Elementary to meet and figure out how they're going to volunteer.
Yeah.
Which is, a great first interaction. Immediately, one of the great things about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is it really just is a show of these are 5 completely unhinged, degenerate weirdos, and they sort of curse everyone around them to either become more like them, like with Cricket or something.
Dude, Cricket has like one of the worst lives of any sitcom character.
Yeah, it's hilarious. You'll see over the seasons, it just gets worse and worse. He looks unrecognizable. It's hilarious. That they either infect others with the weird the curse of their degenerateness, or there's a normal person and they're reacting to how insane these people are. And it is interesting that, like, you mesh these two sitcoms together, and as weird as the Abbott Elementary characters might seem in the context of their show, once the gang arrives, it's like they're the weird ones. They're insane. And, like, you're the different tones of the show. Like, Abbott Elementary doesn't... I think that Always Sunny has a more cartoonish, I'll say, limit of what is, like, they get away with some really insane things.
Yeah.
It jumps... I mean, it's not jumping the shark in a bad way because it's in the context of the show. Like, it makes sense in the show. But like if Abbott Elementary had done some of the stuff that Always Sunny did, it might be jumping the shark for Abbott Elementary.
Yeah.
Like it's too insane.
Yeah. It's Always Sunny is less set in our reality.
Yeah, it's some weird cursed version of our reality where it's like some I guess maybe stereotypes of types of people who might live in Philadelphia or something, but turned up, I mean, past 11, like just turned up to 100. But yeah, I like that you immediately see just everyone kind of contending with how weird these volunteers are. Dennis deciding he's not going to be in front of the camera at all and seems suspiciously trying to get out of it. And I forget all of the exact stuff that they say, but I just remember them all kind of contending with how strange this all feels and feeling like something is off.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that scene was a really great introduction on Abbott to the It's Always Sunny characters, because it was fun to see the main cast of two shows together, and then we're introducing to like, oh no, these are not going to be your normal type Abbott characters for like people who don't watch It's Always Sunny, but if you do, you're like, oh boy, they're going to be in for a rough day. Or I believe it was a week, right?
Yeah, it was like a week of stuff.
Yeah.
But then they decide to split off into helping the teachers with what they need help with. And at first Charlie is like fixing something for Jacob, but it quickly derails into like, this guy is dumber than a 6th grader, and later this guy is dumber than a 1st grader or whatever.
Oh yeah, remember when Charlie, or I think it was in Melissa's class, when Jacob brings Charlie to Melissa, and one of the students asked Charlie how to spell something. Yeah, and clearly he's getting the wrong answer.
L-I-Y.
It's almost like remember in the Office episode when Michael was at that small family paper company.
Oh yeah, and he's helping
help the girl with her math homework, and the grandma runs up and goes, "Don't write that down."
Yeah, which is a great. I mean, I love that. That was one of my favorite bits in this episode. Is just everyone slowly realizing that like Charlie can't read, and like. That is one of those funny things where it's like It's Always Sunny. It is a running joke that like Charlie can't spell anything. He writes stuff in like basically not even English, and he can't read.
There was one episode, I can't remember what it was. Something about a neon sign that like he made it look like it was like the bar was closed or something. Oh
yeah, I can't remember what the exact thing was there, but yeah.
There was a scene where he screwed up something with a sign to make it look like the bar was closed.
Yeah, and I don't know if you got, but one of a fan favorite scene from the show is that one where like Dennis is running for like a position in politics, and
I think so.
Charlie writes a script for him to read.
Yes, I remember that one.
It's like, and Dennis is just like, "What are you making me read?" So do like it just this doesn't make any sense. I think you can't read.
Yes,
but and it's funny because in that show everything is just like, they're very just like Charlie, you're an idiot, and they move on. And in Abbott Elementary, it's funny to see people be like genuinely concerned that like, yes, it's okay. Adult literacy, and like many adults can't read, and I love how they slowly are like trying to teach them and how proud they get. It's amazing.
Especially Barbara, because maybe out of all the characters, and Janine too, probably Janine and Barb are the ones with like the biggest heart in Abbott.
Yeah, like they do genuinely care about helping people.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what Charlie splits off to do. We also see Frank, because he said he used to live outside. He can help with the gardening. And then at first you think it's gonna be like Gregory being exasperated with Frank's weird ideas about how like you can't put cayenne in it because you're gonna make the dirt delicious and the raccoons are gonna love it. You got it. He has these ideas about how to ward off raccoons. What it actually turns out to is a rivalry forming between Frank and none other than Mr. Johnson.
Oh,
which,
yes.
Wasn't this the pairing you said you wanted to see happen?
Yes, this was the pairing I wanted to see because in both shows, those are the most out there characters.
Yes.
Like Mr. Johnson and Frank, they are the most like Kramer or Creed from The Office. Like, so I was really hoping we would see them interact, and I was so glad that they put them together. And I also think, going in one of my points, it was really smart to pair them with Gregory, because out of all, maybe the characters from both casts, he feels like the most grounded character.
Yeah, he's the closest thing to like the straight man, even though he does have his eccentricities, but he is the closest thing to being the straight man of the group. Closest thing.
Yeah, he is almost like he is the audience point of view in that scene where he is just like, what is going on here? Yeah. And plus, it also makes sense because Gregory is in charge of the gardening program at Abbott.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't dot connect until I saw them starting to interact, but I was like, oh, this is the most obvious pairing of the two shows.
Yeah.
This is the pairing that most had to happen.
Yes.
I realized that as it was happening. So yeah, that's awesome seeing their referee. Dennis, of course, because he's hiding from the cameras, doesn't really have like a subplot in this. We only see that in the next episode. Yeah. But I do think that's very fitting for the character. There was a lot of pairings we had to deal with, and we do get to hear some of Dennis's like off-screen happenings, like when the teacher says that some guy invited her to a bar with 300 one-star reviews. So you kind of hear about what Dennis is doing.
I will say, that's probably the one criticism I have of the special, is that Dennis was like, if there was a bit like, oh, really? Dennis isn't going to be in it?
Yeah.
Like, I get that this episode, it was very difficult with everyone's schedule. Like, I believe they weren't 100% sure if Dee could be in it, because Caitlin Olsen also has that high potential show that's filming all the time. So I get the whole schedule thing. And again, as a fan of the Arrowverse, I remember hearing about it's very difficult to do a crossover between two shows that are in production at the same time.
Yeah.
I get that. I was a little bit disappointed, like, really? He's not going to have a role in this? I mean, I get schedules, but it was a little disappointing, especially because, and just from the episodes I've seen, it does feel a lot of times like Dennis is the one who usually comes up with the scheme or whatever that launches the plot of most It's Always Sunny episodes. So that was a little disappointing in part one, but I am glad that he did have a bigger role in part two because of his schedule.
Yeah. And I mean, I completely agree with that criticism. It's disappointing to me too. For me, it's sort of like I felt like I couldn't knock it too much because it at least felt justified in a way that was funny for a moment, but like ultimately, Dennis is, well, it's, I would say my favorite character of It's Always Sunny is probably Charlie, but I do think that Dennis, like, he's a little bit too hateable to be like my favorite character, but he does create a lot of the funniest moments to me. like in many ways he is the funniest character when he has these screaming outbursts or his neuroticisms, and so it is a shame that we didn't get to see that behavior. In many ways, he is the most off-putting. It's this funny thing that It's Always Sunny does, where Dennis simultaneously plays the straight man in a lot of situations, but I actually think he's the most insane.
Yeah, I just watched the episode, the Dennis system, where he has like the different ways.
Yeah,
he tries to get with the pharmacist.
Yeah. He is just Dennis is just a predator, maybe killer. We don't know, and he's the most insane of the group. But like his sort of narcissism is what kind of makes him the straight man, because he's shutting people down and saying you're crazy, saying no, only stick to one scheme. But in fact, he's worse than all of them. So
yeah,
it was a shame to not get to see him interact at all.
But we'll get into it later. But they did make up for it in part 2.
Yeah,
it's just, if this had been the only episode, that would have been a big disappointment.
Definitely. Yeah. The next pairing, Dee and Janine. They pair and at first seem to be connecting on certain things. Of course, we know that Dee is not going to be genuinely connecting with anyone, but Janine doesn't know that, and they seem to genuinely connect at first.
That's a very Janine thing.
Yes.
She wants to be friends with everyone.
Yeah.
And didn't they bond because Dee said she went to the same school as Janine?
Yeah.
Or same college?
Yeah. And I mean, we'll get into it when we cover the next, but this is one of the
twist?
this is one of the instances where seeing the same events from from different perspectives and seeing like, well, this is what Dee was really doing in the next episode. This is one of the places where that storytelling thing shined. But yeah, that quickly dissolves as Dee decides that her angle is going to be trying to kind of, I guess, one-up Janine by getting with Gregory.
Yes. And even has the kids write love notes for her.
Yeah.
That was an interesting way for Janine to find that out.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, it's great. I mean, obviously the Frank Mr. Johnson pairing is great, but I think a lot of the funniest moments were created by this Dee and Janine pairing, because I did love that, like they get super competitive. I mean, Dee is clearly the insane one and in the wrong, of course, but it is, like, Janine throughout the series has this super repressed, deep down anger that she, like, kind of keeps at bay throughout the series. So, as stupid as Dee's attempts are to, like it still gets under Janine's skin, even though it's, like, clearly absurd. And so it is very funny to see, Dee's absurdity get under Janine's skin, even though it's nothing. Like, of course, Gregory's not going to sleep with Dee. Like, it's
Gregory's like, hey, she's crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought that was
even if
great.
Gregory wasn't with Janine, there's no way he would ever get with Dee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I also wrote that this is a little further back, but it makes total sense that Melissa would have been to Patty's before of everyone.
Yes. Yeah. When Melissa, I loved how Melissa was just like, I'm pretty sure I know who you are. I'm like, yes, she should be the one to figure it out.
Yes.
And when she puts it all together, that was, again, they did a really great job with pairing characters and knowing what characters to use when.
Yeah. And that's when they decide to confront them that they're criminals.
Yes. You know what's almost too bad?
What?
It's, even if it was a completely different character, it could have been such a great opportunity. What if, like, the Melissa actress, because I actually saw her in an old episode of Curb, How great would it have been if, like, she had guest starred on an episode of It's Always Sunny, and they retconned her to be Melissa?
That would have been awesome. Yeah, yeah, it could have made sense. But yeah, yeah. There's an interesting tidbit about this scene where they confront them that I'll get into in the next one. But
okay.
It's part of the reason why I like having both of these episodes enhances everything. Yeah, the other pairing, this could be a small criticism too. The Mac and Ava pairing is a very small part of this. I feel like Mac isn't really in it that much, but yeah, he tries to pair with Ava, and it seems like his goal is mainly to be getting over with the volunteering as quickly as possible by really sucking up to Ava, cleaning her car,
bringing her,
the
was it donuts
rolls.
or
It was
some
cinnamon
kind
rolls.
of treat?
Yeah. Yeah, cleaning the closet of clothes. So it could have been a little bit more Mac and Ava for my taste. Would have liked to see more, but hey, 20-minute episodes.
Yeah. Well, 22. They asked for a longer runtime for this episode, and ABC gave them an extra 15 seconds.
Wow. I wonder, maybe that's one joke. Pretty
cool.
What?
I do remember on Wikipedia there is a list of stuff they cut out. We should check that out.
Oh, really?
When we're done reviewing it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely tricky when you deal with those, how do you fit in all of this in 22 minutes and I guess 15 seconds? Yeah.
15 seconds?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the 15 seconds went to the end where Jacob said, It's Always Sunny, and cut.
Yeah,
I thought that was a nice line. That was
a
fun little gag to end it on. A nice little button.
Yeah, and way funnier to cut it off, for sure. It's great. Yeah. On Wikipedia, you said parts.
Yeah, in the there's an article dedicated to the crossover.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Maybe we'll look over that in a minute. Yeah. What else is there to cover about this first part?
Oh, real quick about the whole Mac and Ava thing.
Yeah.
I thought that those two were a really good pair, and I would say, of all the Abbott characters, I feel like the one who would fit the most in It's Always Sunny would probably be Ava.
Oh, yeah.
Because she is the one who gets what she wants and is able to get out of trouble.
And she has schemes and stuff, too. So
yes. So I thought they worked really good together. It was interesting to see Mac in a situation where, being paired with Ava, where he was trying to, get what he wanted, but somehow Ava was always the one who somehow got what she wanted. So I thought it would have been nice to see more of them, but I thought the stuff that they did have together was great.
Yeah,
and
it
was a great pairing.
Yeah, I agree. It really was a great pairing. Part of the reason I wanted to see more of it. But yeah, I love, it is at the end of the day, Ava, as much as the gang's whole thing is schemes and having an angle, Ava just kind of one-upped them at every turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved with the cinnamon rolls. It was like, hey, sign this. My hands are sticky.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then it's not until the very end that Ava just gives up and just you're done.
Yeah, because Mac's been complimenting the teachers and she insults them to keep them going. Yeah.
What a way to get fired from your volunteer gig.
Yeah, complimenting too much. Yeah, somehow Frank's ideas are, I guess, kind of working. I know he accidentally he locks himself in the cage or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he's eating the stuff from the garden.
Yeah, because it's too good.
Yeah.
It's too good. Yeah. Yeah, and then I guess I don't know if there's anything to cover before sort of the wrapping up of part 1, but towards the end of part 1, we are starting to see all of these strange ways in which the gang actually did help. Like something about Charlie in the book revealed that there's like an endangered bird at the golf course or something.
Oh yeah.
So
wasn't that something that Mac and Ava used to blackmail the golf course?
yeah, Mac blackmailed the golf course to help. So they actually did manage to help Abbott Elementary in that sense.
It was fun to see like Ava and Mac work together on a scheme.
Yeah. And of course, Frank like gave one of his secrets to keep the raccoons at bay. Yeah, they all somehow managed to actually help, and so yeah, like you said, with them feeling like the episodes there, like Abbott Elementary episodes usually end with some kind of like positive outcome. Typically, Always Sunny episodes often end with the gang failing at something or like
walking away in shame.
Yeah, not being able to get a hold of themselves in some way. So yeah, it felt like the end of an Abbott Elementary episode, as we see that things might actually be going their way. Maybe they did volunteer. Maybe they did help a little bit.
Oh yes. One thing before we get into part 2 that we kind of touched on a little bit that I'd like to maybe talk about a little bit more was the whole plot about Charlie learning to read.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know how, like, It's Always Sunny fans feel about kind of that character development. But I thought that was a really nice thing to add into the show that kept it feeling like an Abbott Elementary episode that has those heartfelt moments.
Yeah, it is very amusing just how proud they are of Charlie once he reads a section of the book and they all cheer.
Yeah.
It's really amusing.
It's been something that's building up for 20 years, and then we got to see him in the cap and gown.
Yeah. They ends with, like, it is very hilarious to me that they set up an assembly to celebrate that this adult could read.
Yes.
That's funny. But yeah, as for like the great thing, like I don't think him not like so he can read at a first grade level now.
Yes.
It's like not.
It's not going to be. It's not like It's Always Sunny. At least from what I've seen, has super tight continuity, where like they'll be okay, this changes everything for Charlie. I think it will probably be maybe a little bit better, but it will still mostly be ignored in future It's Always Sunny episodes.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it obviously doesn't care that much about super tight continuity, but they also could just decide to go, Charlie forgot. He forgot how to read.
Charlie got too drunk, banged his head.
Yeah.
It's worse than ever now.
Yeah. That would be a very Always Sunny thing to do. Because also there's like 2 genuinely heartfelt episodes in all of It's Always Sunny. They're later on, you wouldn't have gotten to them yet. One of them is, I think, the better of the heartfelt episodes and is genuinely kind of moving. And there's a later episode where they sort of self-referentially joke about it, and Frank basically just completely ditches everything you learned from that episode. He's like, I don't get it anymore. Like, at the time I learned something that I don't care. I don't get it anymore. Like, and I thought that was very funny, like how nonchalantly they just trashed all over their heartfelt episode from the past.
Yes.
So something like that could very well happen.
Yeah, so I believe, I'll check my notes real quick, but I think that's all. We covered everything that I had for part 1.
Yeah, that's about the whole episode. And I think,
by the way, it was a very difficult, I love the idea of a crossover, but it was going to be difficult to think, okay, how does this group of characters get into Abbott Elementary?
Yeah.
But it was, I thought, having them be volunteers because of a crime they committed, that felt like a very natural way to bring them into the school.
Yeah, definitely. They never say it this way in Always Sunny because it's such a normal thing, but they are serial criminals. Like, that's their whole thing. So bringing them into this slightly more grounded world it makes sense for it to be like, yeah, you'd be criminals and you'd have to do volunteering or go to jail or something, like, obviously. So, yeah.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, let's get into the second part, which I think could have more to unpack because it would involve some looking back at the first episode.
Yeah. I was just reading through my notes real quick. Oh, you know what? Let's start part 2 with this question, with kind of this thing that I was a little surprised by, but I think it was a good thing that they did it, which was they kept the mockumentary format for part 2.
Oh yeah, that was interesting because for part 2, you know, it was more footage discovered later. It was sort of behind the scenes, but nonetheless, it was recordings. Yeah, which is different than It's Always Sunny. For It's Always Sunny. Which I think that makes sense. I think It's Always Sunny has more flexibility with like doing different things for an episode.
Yeah. So I thought that I was surprised, but I think keeping it in the mockumentary style was a very smart idea because when you watch them back to back, it may have felt jarring.
Yeah.
To have to see the Abbott characters not in the mockumentary format,
especially since they are so connected. Like they're so kind of just one episode in 2 parts.
And a lot of the Abbott characters' gags do come from the talking head moments.
Yes, and some of my favorite ones too, because as silly as this is, I'll just say up top, I think my favorite thing about this episode is that we get to see the Abbott characters without the censors, and we just get to see them go off.
Yes. Well, you know what? Let's just bring it up right now. When Janine shared her thoughts about D.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, if it's FX, how far can they really go?
Yeah.
When she dropped that, my jaw dropped. I was like, what?
Towards the beginning of the episode,
it wasn't until I looked up that it's not FX anymore. It's now an FXX.
Yeah.
But I was not expecting that because they never went that far in the shows, in the seasons I've seen of It's Always Sunny.
Yeah. I wrote in my notes that was the hardest I laughed among the whole crossover.
Yeah.
And part of it is like, for a second, you do forget you're not watching an Abbott Elementary episode.
Yeah.
And, like, it truly is like, oh, I'm going to say something I shouldn't say. And knowing Janine, it's like, she's a meanie. Like, you know, it's like that could have been the joke, is that she wasn't really going to say something that bad. But then what she says is literally so heinous. It's like, and it's Janine saying it.
Yes. So that just shows how much how much of a curse it is to know the gang from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
If they can break someone like
Infected,
Janine, who also punched a lot.
That was awesome too. When she secretly had insane strength to punch.
She had such great moments in this episode.
Truly some of the best moments. But yeah, the premise of the second part is Ava opens it up with like there's some extra footage that they reviewed and they found out that the gang was not really so noble after all. And we see the gang right after that first meeting, their perspective, they go and huddle off in the other room, and turns out they do have an angle, they do have an idea. It's steal the copper piping in the walls of the school.
Also, how great was it when they were in the teacher's lounge and Mr. Johnson walked in on him being like, what are you doing in here?
Yeah, where's the volunteers lounge?
Yes.
I love that line from Charlie. So yeah, we are seeing that, and Dennis is actually kind of in this episode. He, oddly enough, gets kind of hyper-focused and distracted on some kind of a coffee scheme where he just decides he needs to make better coffee than the horrible coffee, but he's making it with science equipment and like the science lab or something.
Yes, very elaborate, almost Breaking Bad type.
Yeah, they reference. I think they reference Walter White at some point.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, almost Breaking Bad-esque coffee making, and it turns out Everyone really loves it.
Yes. Oh, by the way, before I forget, just because it touches on two things that have just been brought up, I thought that, once again, having Ava be the one to introduce the behind-the-scenes footage was a great choice because, they could have done Janine, who is the main character of Abbott, but Ava, it was nice to see her have a bigger role after kind of having a smaller role in part one. And like I said earlier, I feel like out of all of them, she's the one who would fit the most with the It's Always Sunny characters.
Yeah.
So that was great. She's also the one to say shit. So right away you're like, oh, this is going to be a bit different from ABC.
Yeah.
And also, I gotta be honest, when it was first announced that it was going to be the story from the gang's point of view, I was a little bit like, I don't know, am I going to feel like I just watched this? But I did like the whole perspective of found footage, and it was different scenarios. It wasn't just a remake of the first episode, but just from their point of view. Like, we did get extra stuff. It wasn't just like, I just watched this. It felt like a nice part two.
Yeah. Further, I would have liked that too, because I'm just genuinely that much of a sucker for that type of storytelling. But yeah, it feels quite different. In fact, it's a lot of completely new scenes that I'll get to that in a second. I do want to think through all the pairings once again, and like the different perspectives on those pairings. So, like, for one, we see in a talking head in the extra footage that immediately after that really nice interaction with Dee and Janine, where they're bonding, Dee immediately walks over and is just like, I don't like her. She thinks she's a star. She's not a star. Immediately talks about scheming against her.
Yes.
And that's just where I think it really shines to see like what was actually going on. It's where this really works as one episode, where the first one gives context to the second, and the second gives context to make the first funnier.
Yeah, it was such a nice twist, too, to do that. And I don't know, because I am, like, I believe 16 years behind. I don't know if she still is trying, but in the episodes I've seen, Dee is trying to become an actress. So it does make sense for her character that she would want to be the center of attention for this documentary crew.
Crew. That's a big thing always. She's trying to become an actress. And so she also really likes the cameras. That's
why when she was an extra in M. Night Shyamalan's movie, she wouldn't just be face down.
Yeah, she needed to show face. But yeah, that was one sort of twist. Another was Frank had released the raccoon, and Frank was the reason for the raccoon. Raccoon on the loose.
Oh yes.
Yeah. But what I really loved in like the second half of this episode that made it feel like, that feels very Always Sunny, is that a lot of the things they did while they were there were complete distractions. Like they were completely distracted from the point of like doing their volunteer work and getting copper piping out of the walls to make a bunch of money. They got completely sidetracked with a maybe 5-minute scene of them talking about 9/11. And being appalled that kids don't remember 9/11 anymore. Just ranting about it.
Yeah, do you remember, not to get off topic, but do you remember in school that when, like, we were in high school, the teachers would always be like, you're going to be one of the last groups to remember 9/11. And we're like, thanks.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, okay.
We've been trying to put it behind us for years, guys.
Yeah. Never forget, I'm trying to forget. No, but I love that. It kind of reminded me of, in the previous, in season 17 of It's Always Sunny, there's an episode, I think either that or the bowling one is my favorite episode of that season. But there's a season where they go to like basically like a Chuck E. Cheese knockoff, and they're like appalled that it's like sort of sanitized and like like they remember that Risky Rat in their day was like more of an edgy character. And so they're like angry that kids these days are too soft, or it's that kind of angle. And so complaining about the kids forgetting 9/11 when we said never forget is a very...
Yes.
And then they sit there and rant deep into the night, and that's
Frank
awesome.
brings up Pearl Harbor, too.
Yeah. But yeah, the other distraction is they try to start a boy band by auditioning random kids. That was awesome. And it created some of the most, like, these people should not be around kids moments.
Yes. Are you a bad boy? I don't know.
Yeah, and then they kind of just accept, like, and we got our bad boy.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that because I don't think you would have gotten to this one yet, but one of my favorite episodes of the whole show is the gang gets quarantined, where
I don't think I've seen that one.
The gang is doing like a sort of barbershop quartet rendition of like a is it a oh god, what is that? Like Boys to Men song or something? But or wait, and there's something with New Kids on the Block with like Dee wants to meet them. I can't remember, but it's one of my favorite episodes, and it is them basically kind of a little bit trying to be a boy band. So they have this weird interest in like being successful doing music, becoming stars doing music. Charlie has a strange, unexplained musical gift throughout the series as well. And then, the other rant they're going, which I found very funny, is when they discover that their whole plan to do like a modern version of We Didn't Start the Fire. They find out because like Jacob offhandedly mentions it that Fall Out Boy already just did that, and then they start completely just screaming about how much they hate Fall Out Boy. It's such a niche.
That may have been
rant.
my favorite subplot of the whole crossover. Just like having them, and like you have Janine, Jacob, and Barbara just performing their hearts out for this little video. And you actually see from the point of view of the camera.
Yeah.
And then I loved how I can't remember what the lyrics were, but you see like some of it from the point of view of the camera, and there's one scene where they're filming Gregory and he doesn't notice, but then he looks at them like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I can't remember what the lyrics were, but they did fit for what was going on right there.
Oh, right. It was like vaguely, it was the gang being kind of vaguely racist and like, that was great in that sort of makeshift music video.
By the way, doing research, I didn't know that Charlie does in real life play some instruments.
Oh yeah, he's very musically talented. Yeah. I believe the podcast might be dead now because they're too busy and didn't feel like doing it anymore. But there is a sort of Always Sunny recap podcast, and he's even Charlie's even played some stuff on there. He's genuinely good at piano and singing and stuff.
One other thing that happened earlier that I thought was funny was, do you remember when I know it was Frank and Charlie, I think it was Dennis too, where they're talking to like one of the students in the bathroom because were they trying to like get athletes or whatever, and then Jacob is just like, what are you doing? And later,
sounds horrible,
you have his talking head, and he's like, "Oh, my mind went to some dark places or whatever."
Yeah, it sounded horrible. Yeah, that's really what this episode is, and it's part of it makes it. It's just jokes after jokes because it is the gang utterly not being able to stick to a plan. They just have too many schemes going at once.
I think Jacob's talking head, where you have the payoff to the gag, really showed how it was a good idea to keep the mockumentary format.
Yeah.
Because that really plays, and again, with Janine's cursing, that really plays to the strength of the Abbott characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, if you feel free, because I'm at the end of my notes and I feel like I may have missed some things, and we should do another wrap up of this episode. But I did want to bring up something I said I was going to bring up earlier, which I thought was interesting. And in the previous episode, when they were confronting the gang for finding out they were criminals, they say something to the effect of we're not criminals unless you count dumping 100 gallons of baby oil, 500 Patty's T-shirts, and a Cybertruck in the Schuylkill River a crime.
Yes, I remember that line.
So I assume you must have gotten you're somewhere in season 5, and then you skipped to this episode, and that's all you've seen?
Yeah, to the crossover.
In season 17, episode 4 shows
Which
you
is
that...
this season, right?
Yes, episode 4 of this season shows you that crime.
Oh.
It involves the baby oil, the Patty's T-shirts, and there are lots of jokes about a Cybertruck. They're all really into Cybertrucks and think they're awesome, and they get one.
So did they rearrange the order from when it was supposed to be, or?
I think that they just made a decision. Well, I think it probably factored that, they probably wanted to get this crossover one out. So why is episode 1? But
especially keep it. We are going to have Abbott return in September. That way, there is kind of a break, so it's almost not competing with Abbott.
Yeah, but I actually really like that it comes out of order. I think it's cool that we see what's happening, because it makes it kind of a prequel.
Yeah. And there's something fans love. It's prequels.
Yeah. They're always good.
Yes.
But yeah, so how does this... Am I forgetting anything else you want to bring up before we talk about, how...
Yeah, there is one more thing I wanted to bring up. It's just a little thing. This whole episode... Most of this episode and all of the first episode took place at Abbott Elementary.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked how at the end of the episode we got to see the Abbott characters at Patty's Pub.
Yeah, we at least get to see them.
That was a really nice thing to do, and wouldn't have felt complete if you didn't see them there too.
Yeah, because you get the same effect of, we see the gang meeting the main characters of Abbott Elementary in the halls of Abbott Elementary, and we get that a couple times. And it wouldn't be right if we didn't also get to see all the main characters of both shows interacting at the pub. And yeah, that's of course when we get the final reveal of the episode, which is that this seemingly nice gesture of getting them an espresso machine because they enjoyed Dennis's coffee so much, was a way to get them out of the school long enough for Frank to take all of the copper piping.
Yes.
So their scheme actually was successful in that sense.
That's right. And I also liked how at the bar you had the Abbott characters try to order stuff, but they just were either out of it or they didn't want to open a bottle.
We're off water right now.
Yes, I love that line. We're off water now.
Yeah, it's also kind of a running joke that they're very dehydrated. Actually, wait, that's also in that same episode 4. So that episode I mentioned with the Cybertruck going into the river and stuff, the premise of that episode is that they get a water cooler for the office and they start drinking water, and it sort of activates them into being really businessy and talking around the water cooler kind of a thing, where they're suddenly really efficient at all these schemes and stuff. And I don't know. I can't remember if this was explicitly... I remember when I was watching it thinking, oh, so they're finally hydrated, and this is how they act when they're finally hydrated. I don't know if that was explicitly the joke, but I found that a funny thought, is that they finally are hydrated. But yeah, maybe that's why they're off water. Maybe that was a reference.
Maybe that is why. Don't want to be too businessy.
Yeah, because I believe they may have gotten rid of the water cooler by the end of that episode because of the stuff that went down. But yeah, great crossover. And like I said, I mean, I think the second one, I don't know if it's unfair to say I like the second one a lot more, because, I mean, part of it is that the first one, you just simply don't have all the information. But, and they all do go hand in hand. They're one overarching story, but, man, if I didn't laugh, I was so also just excited to be starting a new Always Sunny season.
Yes. Yeah, for me, maybe it's just because of the Arrowverse crossovers. I view them just as one crossover, but yeah, I thought that they did such a great job with this crossover. And again, this was, I mean, look, you always look forward to like a TV show, but there's something extra special when there's some type of an event, like the Arrowverse crossover or the Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors. They really came together and put on an event for what I think are the two best live-action sitcoms on TV right now, and I thought they did such a great job with it.
Yeah. Very excited to see where both of these shows go from here. I mean, I obviously know where It's Always Sunny is going from here. Because I don't know when I'll next get to say it, I think this season has been fantastic so far. I think the 5 episodes I've seen so far have all been great. I think that they're really trying to be slightly more grounded after a few seasons of some bigger, kind of more ambitious ideas. They seem to be trying to go a little return to form, and I gotta say, I think it's Season 17, Episode 3. Yes, it's that one where it's Mac and Dennis become EMTs. That's my favorite episode in a long time. It's really funny. So yeah, very excited where that goes. And yeah, now I finished watching through Abbott Elementary, like truly, like I had finished all of it, and then the last episode of season 4 was coming out the next week. So yeah. I finished everything, and then had to wait a week to actually finish all 4 seasons of the show until it airs again. I've been seeing some weird like press and stuff that I don't understand about, like Quinta Brunson maybe like thinking about like moving on from it at some point.
Yeah, I went into those articles. She talks about, you know, it sounds like she's talking about, you know what, it can be tough doing a network show where you're doing 22 episodes. I think she's more talking about what she wants to do after it ends, not like, you know what, let's just, I've had it with this gig.
I see. I did get the vibe that this was a clickbaity thing. Like, the clickbait was sort of like, is she gonna leave after season 4 or something? Like, or is the show gonna end? And I was sort of like, I have a hunch that's clickbait and that we're gonna get probably a couple more seasons at least.
Yeah, there is, not to get on a whole thing, but you know what? Well, let's rabbit hole this for a second, shall we?
Yeah.
There is a problem with entertainment journalism and doing clickbait garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I'm sorry, there are so many, like, you know what the biggest one was?
What's that?
I'm not going to say what outlet it was, because honestly I don't remember, but it was one of the big ones. One of the very good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Where they did an article saying, did The Simpsons kill off Marge Simpson in the season finale of The Simpsons? Because they did a what if future type episode. Okay? The writers of the article know that's not true. People who watch the show know that's not true. They did it just for some easy, lazy clicks. And
it's dumb.
Shame on all of them. Shame on all of them who participate in this bullcrap activity.
Yeah, I hate that crap.
You know what? If you want some I'll just, if you want to get some clicks, why don't you get off your ass, call an agent, and try to find a story. Don't just type up some clickbait garbage just because I'm going to shock some people into clicking my article. Stop it.
People are purposely trying to, almost purposely misread stuff just to, get clicks, obviously. One of my pet peeves lately with clickbait articles is one thing I've noticed I see a lot is a, catchy headline that doesn't specify what it's about. So it'll be something like, this popular show is being removed from Netflix at the end of the month. And it's clearly if there's any integrity in journalism of communicating important things, it would obviously say the name of the show in the title, but then it wouldn't be news at all because you would go to it and find out no one cares about the show they're talking about. Or something like that. Where
I'm trying to watch what I can say because I know where it's from. I have a little history with them.
Yeah.
It's an initiative to basically do the analytics. Because if you scroll down to the third paragraph, it counts as a view.
Yeah, you got to get people further down.
So you're forcing your audience to go through this just so you can, drum up some clicks. And by the way, the site's doing this. Never mind. I will save it for...
Yeah, look, we're not...
Because all it takes is one person clipping and creating unnecessary drama for our show.
Yeah.
It's a way to try to trick people into forcing them to read an article about a topic they don't care about. It's just, what are you doing with this?
Yeah, no, it is, and this is getting really rabbit hole at this point, but it is basically technology and the internet is all about wasting people's time right now. That's kind of what it is. It's, another classic example in the article thing that this reminds me of is how recipes will have some freaking life story before you get to the ingredients. It's you scroll down past a million ads and towards the bottom of the page before you get to the recipe. And it's just this stuff, it ruins any joy that someone might find in gathering information, reading about things they care about, journalism. Yeah, it's basically not even journalism. It's just the time-wasting industry.
Yeah, and look, they wouldn't have to do this if they actually had some real journalists calling up agents trying to find and break stories. It's just they have nothing to report on because they don't have real journalists.
Yeah.
They just hire people to rewrite stuff, and they're doing this to try to get clicks, easy clicks, because they're artificially getting clicks, is what it is. They're artificially getting reads on their articles, even though people aren't reading their articles. They're skimming it to find the real information.
Yeah, no, it is effectively just a weird trick to maximize numbers. But hey, look, we...
I'll say this. Do you remember how I talked about because the whole James Gunn thing made me almost think about quitting this show? I was just you know what? Seriously, the past year, I've been so disillusioned by entertainment journalism that I'm you know what? We need comment section.
Yeah.
Because, seriously, I feel we give our opinions. We do what we can to try to source everything. I hold us up to a higher standard now.
Yeah, and if this dumb show can have a higher standard than that, then that's saying something.
Because it is just I saw some article. Should I say? I won't say where it's from. I saw an article talk about, I don't watch Abbott Elementary, and I didn't like the crossover. I'm like, who cares about your opinion then, man?
I know. Yeah, who cares?
Who cares? Why did you write this? Why did you post it? Oh,
Yeah.
because you wanted to have a hot take opinion to get some clicks.
Yeah.
It's just, it is so frustrating to see how much entertainment journalism has frankly gone down the toilet in the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was so different in 2015 compared to the way it is now. You have people either trying to get cheap clicks, or you have these idiots who like to be offended by everything.
Yeah.
We know who they are. They like to be offended by everything, and they'll throw around terms like woke or whatever.
Yeah.
You have places that will take things completely out of context and write articles about that. Or you'll have, like, the Star Wars hate channels who are just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Everything after Empires, man, it all sucks.
Yeah.
Or the fake positivity ones that just like, guys, this movie isn't out yet, okay? It doesn't come out for 3 years, but I promise you it's 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's just like, what are we doing, guys? And it's just,
Yep.
I guess all we can do is try to make this show the best show that we can.
Yeah. No, I feel like we could definitely, there are some tenets I think we are aligned by that we could make this show like the 10 Commandments, because this is the Bible. The 10
Yes.
Commandments of comment section of just like, this cannot be one of those like desperately farming for engagement type of shows. It's also, I don't think, it's not a science. It's not like cold, hard journalism. It is just two people sharing opinions.
Yeah. And to be fair, we are not journalists.
Mm-hmm.
We are not calling up agents trying to break scoops. That's that's for great people like at Variety, Hollywood Reporter, Deadline. We are more pundits.
Yeah.
We are taking it, giving it a little context, and sharing our opinion on it. That's more what we do.
Yeah. It's opinion sharing,
But
but
we do
is...
also have more of a journalist. We try to follow journalistic ethics on this show.
Yes, I think it's sharing opinions, but it is with the ethical boundary of not morphing those opinions into what would get clicks or be counted as rage bait or be clickbait, rage bait. We're not baiting anyone with the opinions or there's integrity there, basically. The word is basically just basic integrity.
Yeah, we didn't do for like what's an episode we just did? David Lynch episode. We didn't do like director of 9 of like certain number of classic movies dies at age whatever, and then we didn't say it halfway in the video. We didn't do a whole like 20-minute prologue of like, well, here are the directors who have done like X amount of films, and then oh, by the way, 20 minutes in, oh, we're talking about David Lynch, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
We didn't try to trick people with clicks.
Yeah. But yeah, that what a rabbit hole. We can get more into that in more serious episodes. This is a comedy episode.
Yes. By the way, I don't want to just make it sound like everything is trash. Maybe I'll shout out a few that are good.
Mm-hmm.
That are, you know what? Obviously Variety, Hollywood Reporter, Deadline. But like for stuff that we kind of do, big fan of John Campea, who works with Robert Meyer Burnett on that show. Christian Harloff is a great one to check out. The Hot Mic, which also does scoops, which different from what we do, but like that one has scoops with Jeff Snyder and John Rocco. That's a good one. Fat Man Beyond with Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin. That's another great one too. So those are very good examples of podcasts and YouTube videos that talk about movies and TV.
Yeah.
the way it should be done.
Yeah. I don't have a ton of examples, but one example just to shout out cool creators that I was remembering going back to as I was editing that David Lynch tribute episode. On YouTube, Maggie Mae Fish does great like video essays about especially Twin Peaks, but also many other things as well. She also has a podcast called Lynchpins video podcast with her and another person who I wasn't familiar with before the podcast, going over every David Lynch movie. They haven't gotten through all of them yet, I don't believe, but it's two people talking about movies kind of thing. So,
oh yes. So guys, there we go. So yeah, catch up on those shows, or you know what, do what I've been doing. You know, as I am going through It's Always Sunny, I always throw on an old episode of Abbott that I haven't seen in a couple years. So keep always falling down that rabbit hole.